Hello guys, how you guys doing today? Welcome back to our blog CMS channel, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe so when I post any new content you can get notified. And if you've been following me from the beginning and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you can get updated when I post any new video. Thank you. And in this video I'll be showing you guys how to edit user profile. As you can see, we have two users. We have Mike and we have Alvin. Obviously they registered and they have a profile here, and their registration, they have a password, they have email address. Okay, maybe in case of maybe Mike wants to update his profile, he wants to change his password, or he wants to change his name, he can't do that now because we don't have any edits where we can edit their profile. So that is what I'll be doing in this video. So let's head on to our members. In our members directory, we have our blog here, and we have our members. So I was actually in my members already. Now members, go to the view.py in our members. As you can see, we only have user register in our members, so we need to add another class. We need to have another class, and we can change this to user profile. Let's name this user profile, and here we're going to make use of updates. Now we're not creating a user, we're updating the profile of an existing user, that is maybe Mike or Alvin. And here we need to pass in a form class. As you can see, in our form class we have user creation form, so we need to have another form of user updates, user change form. So this is the form I'm going to be using, user change form, so a user can make changes to their existing form. So we're going to clear this now and have user change form. And as you can see, we have a template name, but I've not created a template name yet, so we need to go create that in our members. I think that's where we are doing our register. So let's do this in our registration templates. So go to registration, right click. So we can call this let's say user profile. You can call it any name though. Let me say user profile.html. Okay, now I have a user profile. So let me copy what I have in my ad posts. What I have in my ad post here. So I'll just Control O, Control C, Control O, Control V. So now I just pasted everything I have in my ad post because it's a form. I'll still make use of that form. Now we have a template that is user profile. Now we can add that here. So let's change this to user profile. So that's what we named it, user underscore profile .html. As you can see, we went to registration, then we created user profile there. So that's how I have registration, user profile. So now we need to redirect this somewhere. So I want to redirect it to home. And I think this is all we need here. Okay, we also need a model because we're updating our user, so we need to know what we're updating. So we need to import model here because we don't have that. So we can do from the Django .contrib.auth.models import user. So now we're going to pass that here. Let's say model. Which model are we using? The user model. And also we need one more thing because we need to know which user are we updating, the exact user that we're updating, because we have not like told the Django which user we're updating. So how can we do that? We can come down here and give this a function of def get object. No, cancel this. Def get object. So what are we returning? We need to return. So we need to return self dot request dot user. We're requesting a particular user because we have two users. If we don't add this, I think we're going to have an error because we have two users already. So we want to know the actual one we're going to call, like the actual user that is logged in, because that's the user we need, the one that is logged in presently. So I think this is all we need. And we also need a URL. As you can see, we have a view, a template, and we need a URL. So in our URL, so we're going to say user profile because that's what I named it here. That's what I named it here, user profile. So I'll bring it here and think I will copy this and bring the same thing down here, but I'll just change the names. So I'll call this user. So I'll call this user profile and change this. Since we are still making a class-based view, we're going to change this to user profile dot as view, and we're going to give this a URL name of user profile. I think we're done. We have a URL, we have a view, and we have our template. So one more thing that we need to do is to, let's come back here. As you can see in our navbar, we have our home, add post, add category. I think I'll change this to user profile, or I don't know if I should do that here, but let's just keep going. Let me add our user profile here. You can actually add it down here though if you want to. I don't know, I'm not using here, but let me add it here. So I'm going to change that in our navbar to user profile. So let's go straight to our navbar. I think this is it. So we'll call this user profile, and we need to give this our URL link, as we always do. That as URL. I think I called it user underscore profile. I think this is what I called it in the URL. Please, I want to just verify. Okay, that's what I called it, user profile. And that's all we have to do. So let's go back and check what we have. Let's refresh. Now we can see user profile, and the user that logged in here is Mike. So let's just go to our user profile, and here we have it. This is our user profile. So now we can update this profile. We can update this profile. But as you can see, we have so many things here that we don't need. This is our reset password. If you click on it, it's taking us to another page. Okay, and this is our last login. This is group. This is user permission. This is username. As you can see, we have first name, last name, email, and we have last joined. We have active, staff status, and as you can see, we're not going to be making use of all this. They are like, if we are updating a user profile, we are not going to be making use of all this. We need to like pick the fields that we want. We don't need all these fields. At least I think I need the username, the first name, the last name, the email. But this stuff, last joined, date joined, active, I don't think I'll be needing all this. So how can we update this profile to just have the fields that we want? We don't need all the single field, every single thing here. We just want some specific fields. So this is how we're going to do that. In our members directory, we don't have a form.py. As you can see, when we are starting our form, here we have a form.py, and we'll give it fields that we want. So we're going to do exactly the same thing here. Just right click and call this forms.py. So now we have a forms.py. So in our form.py, it's going to look exactly like this. Like there is nothing different. Something is going to look exactly like this. So I'm trying going to do almost the same thing. So let's just come to our members form.py and start by saying from the Django, from the Django.forms import model form. And we're also going to have our user from, let's say, from the Django.contrib.auth.model import user. So we're going to have a model of users. So let's come down here and create a class. So we're going to create a class, and we can name this anything like we always do. You can name this anything. So let me call this user profile view, and we're going to pass in model form. Also, we're going to have a class of meta, and in our meta we need a model. Which model are we using here? That is the user model. the user that we imported up there, the user model. So now this is where we're going to like pass in the fields that we need. This is where we're going to pass in the fields that we need. So right now, what fields do we need here? Actually, we are going to use the username, the last name, but how are we going to know the fields that we need? So let's just come back here. As you can see, we don't need all these fields. How are we going to know the fields that we actually need? You can just right click and come down to, as you can see, view source page, view page source. Just click on view page source, then you can see our source code. Just scroll down to where you have the names of the fields that you want. Okay, these are the things we are looking for. As you can see, they named it username. Like, these are the names that we are seeing here. They named it username. Here they named it first name. They named this one last name. See the names that we have here. We'll have this one as email. So these are the names we're going to pass in. Like, as you can see, the names, the email, the name here is last name, the name here is first name, the name here is username. So these are the names we're going to call. So let's just do that right away. The first one is username. Second one is, and the way you arrange it here is where it's going to appear in your front end. So okay, let me just show you guys an example. Let me call this last name. Let me call this first name, first underscore name, because that's exactly how they wrote it there, first underscore name. So you must write it exactly like that. You must, the best way, you can just copy this so you won't make a mistake, but you have to write it exactly the names you are saying here. So I think we'll have email. These are the fields that we want. So now let's go to our view.py. In our view.py, now we have a forms.py. So we are going to pass that forms.py here. So from .forms import user profile view. So here that we have form class. We're not going to change this. We are going to change this to that user profile view that we have. So this is the user profile view, and this is all we need. This is all we need. So when we come back here to our projects, so once we click on the refresh, and here we have it. These are the fields that we want: the username, the last name, the first name, and the email address. These are the fields that we want, and these are the fields that I passed in my forms.py here. And I told you that the same way, the way you arrange it here is where it's going to appear. So we can get rid of that because I want to have last name before first name before last name, first name before last name. So I have first name before last name. So let's go back and refresh now. So now I've refreshed. We have our first name, last name. Like I told you, the same way, the way you arranged it here, that's how it's going to appear here. So now let's update our Michael profile. So let's give Michael first name. I think I used this the last time I was working on something. Mike is Mike at gmail.com. Let's update this. So like you told, if you can remember, we told it to redirect to our home page. That was just basically what just happened. It redirected us back to our home page. So now Mike has an email, a first name, and a last name. But if you can remember, when we were logging in, when we registered, it was only the username that we made use of. Let's go back to our registration so I can show you guys. Let's go to login. This is our, as you can see, it's only username, password and confirm password that we have. That's why we are calling Mike's username. So right now we have updated Mike to have a first name and a last name. So we can now use that first name and last name here. We can now change this to first name and last name. Where is Mike's blog? Okay, this is what Mike created. So we can now have first name and last name for Mike now. So let's try to log in for Mike. So now I've logged in for Mike. So I want Mike to have his first name and last name displaying here, because what is displaying here is just his username. So I want his first name and last name to display here. So let's come to our home.html. This is our home.html. ahead. This is where we have our post the author. So what I'm just going to do is post the author dot first underscore name. So we can easily copy this and paste it again and change this to last name. So let's go back and refresh for Mike. Now as you can see, Mike's first name is Mike, then last name is Easy. So that's what we have, but we have an issue now. As you can see, this is Alvin's post. Alvin does not have a first name and a last name. That's why nothing is showing for Alvin here, because it is the username that we had initially. So nothing is showing for Alvin here. So we need to just go and log in for Alvin and make the same update for him. I think I'm getting this wrong. So now we have logged in for Alvin. So we can do the same thing for Alvin here. As you can see, Alvin has a username and an email, but doesn't have a first name and a last name. So we can give him his own first name and last name, and we can post this. Now Alvin's first name and last name now appears here. The same thing with Mike. So now we can now update this, but I don't want an anonymous user to be able to view this page. It's not proper because it doesn't have an ID. So let's just go back to our navbar and copy this and pass it inside here. Let's get rid of this. Voila. So now anonymous user can't see that, only users that have as authenticated. So that's all we have for this user profile. So I think in the next video I'll be showing you guys how to add your password, because the password here was taking us to another URL. So we need to like find a way to like go to that URL and change our password. So now we can update our profile, add our first name, our last name, email. As can see how I added other fields. If you need any names of those other fields, maybe find their names like this. The name of this one is date joined. You can do the same if you want to have your date joined. Just come to your forms.py here and add that field there, and it will display. So that's all you need to do. I think that's all we have for this video. In our next video, I think I'll show you guys how to add the password. This video is getting quite long. I'll do that in the next video. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time.